on computer, start recording, and let's share the screen. Desktop. Okay, share. Good. Are you guys able to see my screen? Something kind of Zoom call?
Yes, yes.
Good, good. Cool. So, hello, Tim. My name is Astos Sarangi, and I am a kind of been a part of Neosoft since last kind of couple of years. And today I'm going to present the advanced TypeScript concepts, few of the advanced TypeScript concepts. It's kind of on part 3. Those who are kind of new to it, it's actually been already 2 parts are already presented. So let's have some brief idea, because it's a long gap between part 2 and part 3 of the advanced TypeScript concepts. So let's have some, before started with advanced TypeScript part 3, let's have some ideas on what are things we have covered in our part 1 as well as part 2, so that it will easy for you to glue between the sessions. Maybe at the end of the session I will share you again the part 1 and part 2 of this series. So let's start then. So in our initial part of our kind of advanced TypeScript part 1 session, we just cover the basic parts of TypeScript. What is TypeScript? What is the relation between Java? It's kind of a purely basic understanding of how we evolve from JavaScript to TypeScript. What are things we have covered? Kind of relation between JavaScript, TypeScript, ES, Babel, how they are related to each other. Then we covered basic data types. What are data types are there? What are kind of additional data types are there in our TypeScript? We covered that. Then we move ahead with interfaces. Then we discuss about what are types of interfaces are there, kind of functional interfaces. Then we are extendable inheritances and all this in a different types of inheritances. Then we discuss on what are classes are there, how we, what are the different types of abstract classes, what is the difference between abstract and implements, what are, how we extend, and what is meant by extend keyword and abstract keyword and implements keyword, this concepts. Then move ahead with our functions, like what are different types of arrow functions are there, a lot of functions are there. And internally this inside the functions we discuss about the this keyword, particularly on I covered the basic bit of this keyword, because this, if I going to talk about this keyword, it will only going to take a whole session for this actually. So then we covered with MCQs. It's a kind of my one of my favorite concepts. So in this, with this agendas, we covered our basic TypeScript part 1. Then we move ahead with our sorry, move ahead with our advanced TypeScript session 2, which is part 2 session. So there we covered a bit of kind of, I would say, advanced topics, more into kind of on TypeScript areas. There we covered generics, type inference, type compatibility, symbols, iterators and generators, decorators, and my favorite as usual, MCQs. So there, believe me, at the time of when I discuss on these points, these terms, you, those are new to this session. So these terms are quite fancy and kind of unknowingly it is kind of an feel that it's kind of on, might be a difficult or might be a kind of challenges if I'm going to learn it. But trust me, these are, the hard part is the only terms and only the naming convention of these terms. There is the concept actually, the internally are quite simple as usual. So these are things we covered in last 2 sessions. Now let's move to our third session, which is advanced TypeScript part 3. So actually uh, these are my agendas for today, kind of modules, namespace, modules, namespace, and trust me, this modules and namespace, why I added third point is module versus namespace, what is the difference between these two, is because this two, when I going to explain you on these two concepts, you feel that yes, these are two quite similar concepts. So why then we have these two concepts in TypeScript? So because of that only, I added kind of an on the third point, I added namespace versus modules. Then fourth point, module resolutions. Fifth point, declaration merging, and fifth point, as always my favorite, MCQs. So actually, what you would expect from this section, you would expect the session, because this hopefully some of are able to guess what I am going to discuss on today's session. Modules, we are using import, exports, and lot of modules in our day-to-day life, in our day-to-day Angular, React, irrespective of technology, frameworks, libraries. We are using lot many modules. Then what Astos is going to say differently, or what he is going to elaborate more into that. It's kind of bored and all. But trust me, guys, it is not this the same. At the end of this session, I'll ensure you that you will kind of, yes, of course, the concept will be same. You are using imports and all these things. But at the end of this session, you would learn how internally, how compiler knows, yes, there are some modules are then how I need to use my course, my how I deal with this scenarios, how I deal with the code management structure. Because at the end, it is kind of a bunch of jumbled. If you are if you already build some Angular or React project, once you build a production build, you might see some bundle.js and some main.js, some xyz random files with random things, right? I guess Prithvi discussed more on the compiler part in his Angular security section, AOT and Git compiler. But the main thing is it is same, but how internally compilers manage module resolutions, declaration merging, and modules, how it internally managed by compiler, we are going to look into it, right? With like I would in my presentation slides, there are few examples are there. We are going to discuss on that exactly, and we'll go one by one, step by step. So hope you enjoy this. You will enjoy the session. So for that, let's start. So let's start with modules. As per the definition says, the file containing a top level imports or exports are considered modules. So what do you mean by that? Like in a simple word, in a layman point of view, if I'm going to explain you that, it's kind of a simple component, as you said, in Angular component or React a specific functional component or class-based component. You might use some imports, because nowadays imports are kind of everywhere. You can use kind of default imports, or like custom imports, custom functionalities you want to import it in your component, in your parent component. There you are using lot many imports. So basically we are going to discuss more on these imports. So what are things we are going to discuss? Good, we are, be with me, we are going to discuss all these aspects, how it works and all, throughout our presentation slides. Good to go. Okay then. So okay, now I have a small question. I don't know how many of you are getting the same vibes of question or not. If a file contains imports or exports, then we are going to call it as module. Let's say I have a file. It don't contain. I have a file means I have a file in your coding languages, not as some random text file or random PDF file. I'm talking about our code files where which don't have any kind of imports or export statement. What we are going to call it? Any answer, guys? Okay, cool. Okay, okay, okay. So the answer is we are going to call it as a script. If something is their import or export statement, then we are going to call it as a module, or else we are going to call as simple scripts. Like in our JavaScript, core JavaScript, we are going to use HTML, CSS, JavaScript projects. We are using the functionality, the things which are written in our JavaScript files, we call them as a simple scripts. So this concept are belongs to there. Okay, my next question is, before modules, what would be the scenario? Like let's say we don't have any import export required things, then how they are going to manage, how, what are the difficult challenges they are facing, whether if they don't have any imports or exports? Guys, any thing to answer? or else I would love to answer the question, but I would prefer if you can contribute so that I can know that my internet is working perfectly fine.
Hi Ashok, Suresh here.
Yes.
So if import export didn't existed or we were never using it,
Hmm.
so the code will be repetitive. We will have to write the
Yes.
functions everywhere so
True.
that
And adding to that, Suresh's point, kind of we need to have lot many cores in a single files, and it is going to hard to debug, hard to test if something broken up, or it is, let's say we have a file kind of, because now all of you are in a big projects or big clients, then we have approximately, let's say we have to build a big module, and it should have kind of 5,000 lines of code. Before debugging the file, we should have kind of sweats are running up from our head, kind of what are things we need to do from 5,000 lines of code. It's hard to check, hard to debug these things. So modules, personally believe that it help us, help the developers to kind of bug free readability, code reusability structures. It follows based on that. Okay, let's move on. All right, I'm taking long time, but okay, we'll learn smooth by smooth. No, not don't be to a hurry, but we have to learn smooth by smooth. Great. Okay, let's say I have to import my entire module, or entire module in the sense of kind of entire one. I have a one file, the React people can easily understood or connect with me. Let's say I have an action creator file. There I have to deal with the different export commands, like export function. Let's say my there are different types of actions, and I need to export all. So in that case, I could use this syntax kind of import star as emp. Let's say from employee, then I can use employee dot abc xyz. I can use anything in this particular type of module importing. Let's say I want to rename an import statement. Let's say I used, like in my function of employee, there is a function called employees, but I want to rename in my specific components. I can rename it using as keyword. Okay, now I have another question raised, where I need to use this curly braces, or where I am not needed to use this curly braces. Is there any, are you guys wanted to participate on this answer?
Hello,
I
hello.
guess if we have multiple exports in a file, then we can use curly
Yes,
braces.
good, good. Adding to the answer, in a more polished way, I could say if I have one function or one variable, I export it. Definitely, if I are going to use import, then I have to export something. So, but in that export also, let's say I am using export default my function name, then I don't need curly braces. But let's say there are thousands, or let's say thousand is a very huge number, but let's say in a file we have 10 functions, and in that all 10 functions I need to export, then the curly braces were curly braces are not going to help us in that. They sorry, my bad. Then the curly braces is going to help us. Without curly braces, it is kind of bit confusing how the compiler, for compiler also it is it is not good way he can understand what are things we need to export it. So in this scenario, we need to use curly braces. And for the conclusion perspective, what I said, a file which is having one function and it has export default, then we are not going to use curly braces. And let's say a function has 10 functions, and when a file has 10 functions and we need to export all the functions, in this scenario we need to use kind of curly braces. Hope you guys understood it clearly.
uh,
Let's move on.
hi
Yes,
Ashok.
yes, yes.
What if we have only one function and we are exporting without default? So
We,
are we need to use this destructuring way or
yes, we need to use destructuring. If we are don't use default keyword, then we have to use the destructured way. Good, great. Let's move on. So now the confusion part came. Now it comes with namespaces. What you mean by namespaces? As the definition space says, namespace is used for logical grouping of functionalities. So your question might arise, now we are using modules. Now in modules also we have a kind of a file, and there we have used kind of different similar concept or similar group of functions in a single file, and we are exporting that files, and whenever we need we are going to import it. But what the hell is now namespace? And it has also a logical grouping of functionality. If they are the same, then why TypeScript created another concept called namespace? So we can use namespace in interfaces, class, functions, variables, etc. What is the syntax? Syntax is namespace. We need to add some name. How we are going to use it? Let's say in the next slide. Okay, let's let's say in my file.1 I have one kind of demo. I am exporting here. Also export, inside that I need to use export, and inside namespace I have demo and I am exporting to. How I am going to use it? There are few jumbled, you would say, the something are written over here, and then I am using demo.x plus demo.y. You might see these are kind of code commenting. In comment we add a double slash. If we add a triple slash, there is no matter. It's kind of seen as a commenting. No, this particular line is called triple slash references. So actually in this is a part of an TypeScript concepts. We are going to discuss more on this triple slash reference concepts in our next session, which is TypeScript version 4. There we are going to discuss on what do you mean by triple slash references and all the concepts, how it works internally, how the compiler knows it's not a command, it's an kind of an reference, or kind of I am using namespaces and all. But for now you can just imagine that yes, kind of an reference we are getting the things. But here is the main challenges. Now you might imagine that these two concepts, modules and namespace, are two different, two similar things. Then why we need them? Let's go to differences. Okay, before discussing about the differences, I actually created a demo for using that, but I faced lots of disadvantages while using namespace. What are disadvantages? Let's discuss on here. Actually, the first point is quite simple. The first point which it tells, if I need to use namespace, then I have to use namespace keyword. But if I need to use some modular concept, then I have to export something so that I can import it some other files to use that. This is the first point. Then second point, it says uh, for logical grouping functionality, it's a local scoping. Actually, functionality with local scoping. Okay, if you are going to, it's a TypeScript file, right? If I am going to, but browsers are not able to understand our TypeScript file, right? So for browser understandable properties, if we are going to use transpiler to compile our TypeScript code to JavaScript code, how it looks? Actually, it looks kind of a variable demo which is having a global scope. Hope you understand what I mean by global scope. So it is going to accessible throughout our application. It's kind of an disadvantages. If you are going to use any other name with the demo, then you are gone, you are dead. There are lots of bugs you are going to solve, but you are not able to understand where the bugs come because you are thinking of something else. But actually the concept, when it converted into a JavaScript, it is kind of an goes to a I would say kind of variable called demo in a global sub. I let me share PS Playground. There I will convert the TypeScript into JavaScript so you can easily understand it. Okay. Right. Let's say I wanted that in my. Okay. You are you able to see the screen? Oh, 1 second. Let me zoom it up. Are you able to see? Now this var is kind of an global level variable becoming an global level variable. Understood? And because of that, we are going to face a lot of challenges in there. I don't know exactly what is the significance of it, but I can ensure that at the time of we are going to have some ideas on triple class references, you might get some glimpse of it. But I don't find any advantages over modules, so that I can use namespace throughout my applications. Okay. Okay. The third point, how I can use my namespace using triple slash reference path, and how I use this module, I just need to import it, right? Okay. Before moving ahead with module resolution, guys, any other doubts you have?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
English here.
Hi, Nilesh.
So, sir, why they created namespace? Like, why it is new? Why
I
it is
personally,
added?
yes, actually, I personally didn't found any kind of advantages of it. If I found, then I will let you know all. But I personally don't find any advantages over why they created over namespace kind of similar concept in comparison with module, because module provide hell lot of thing and it's easy to use, actually export something and just import it. But it's kind of, I personally feel kind of an disadvantages if I put it, if after converting to JavaScript, if it is put my namespace as a global variable, then it will produce a hell lot of challenges, a lot of bugs. So I personally don't feel any kind of advantages why they created, but if I found or come across any solution to it, then I will definitely share you all.
Okay.
Hi Asutosh, I
Hello.
have a small doubt.
Yes.
Can we use multiple namespaces in a file, like in a single file?
Multiple namespaces in a single file.
Like we are using with export, like if there are
Mhm.
multiple classes or functions, we can use either multi-role exports or either simple export in each, with prefix of each function or
Yes,
class.
yes, you can use it. Actually, I created a demo with kind of an a sub. You would say currently we have only one export of variables, but
Mhm.
internally you can add a hell lot of functionality which have exporting functions, variable, and a lot of things. But I like it is kind of due to the global variable also. It is kind of throwing me a kind of error. So I'm not get some time to debug more into that. But I personally don't feel any kind of advantages over module, so I just skip that part. If I
Okay, sure.
in future, if I get some kind of proper way to explain the concept, then I will definitely going to share these things with you.
Sure. Thank you.
Good. Great. Okay, let's talk about module resolution now. What is module resolution? We discuss about modules. Modules is nothing but how we export and import the functionality in our files, right? So what is module resolution? Module resolution is a process used by compiler to figure out our imports. I in the starting of our presentation, I already discussed that in this particular session, we are going to know how compiler internally knows our modules, how internally it manages the modules. We are going to have a look into that also. So this module resolution topic is more specific to how compiler looks our modules, how it treats our modules. It's a simple module example, nothing fancy over here. But the compiler will also check the usage of a import which we are importing in our application. If required, then we'll check definition of module here. Why I write this example? Okay, before that, let me discuss about what are different types of imports. There are two basically different type of relative imports, non-relative imports. We are going to discuss more on what particular segment we called an relative import and what particular segment we are going to call a non-relative imports in our upcoming slides. But before that, let me address you some of the points why it will going to check for a thing. Maybe it is a function, maybe it is a variable to our application. Hopefully, when we are using Angular or React or Vue, we it's kind of recommended because Angular and Vue are already integrated with Webpack. But in React, I don't have any clear that it has, I think it has webpacks, but at the time of build it should need webpack to proper building and thing. Then what is the use of webpack? Why we need webpack actually? Webpack is basically, webpack help us tree checking, minifying, uglifying. What are these fancy terms? Let's talk about the tree checking, which is actually going to important for our understanding of why it is going for checking a part throughout our application. The tree checking is, let's say you are importing some of the modules in your component in Angular, React, or any of the technologies, right? So while you are using webpack and at the time of building your application, build with production, build your application, then webpack checks for it. Webpack checks, yes, I am importing that particular module, is I am going to use this a in my component. If yes, then it is going to keep as it is, then it will go to tree minifying and uglifying. But the output of tree checking is kind of, it is checking if it is used, then okay, else it will eliminate or it will delete this line, particular line. So that, like, let's say if I'm going to use this particular line, what do you mean by that? After compilation, how it looks, it looks like all my codes are jumbled into one or two files, right? So that if it is has some unnecessary thing, I just import it and I forgot to use it, and don't I used it, but later on I don't think it is going to be important, so I deleted the used code, but I forget to remove the imports. So in this case my file size is going to be increased due to the due to this. But if I'm going to use webpack, then it is going to remove the import statement. So with the help of that, we are going to have kind of an it's this concept, this particular concept is called tree checking. Tree checking means the unused leaves, the dead leaves are going to fall if it is has no use. The same concept, the rest of parts like minifying, uglifying, just going to give a brief. But if I'm going to dip into that, it is going to be debated from our topic. But what do you mean by uglifying and minifying? So you might notice that, let's say we have a function kind of sum, then it has two parameter, first name, last name. It will convert our sum to kind of an this function to kind of, let's say, let's open a playground so that you can easily understood. Are you able to see my screen, guys?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So let's say I have a kind of an function sum of two numbers. This is, oh sorry, numbers, and argument as first name kind of number and second name kind of a number, and return type is number, and it returns the, let's say I am again using a variable, the result equal to first name plus second, oh sorry, first name, what I added the variable name. Okay, fine. Hope you understand my feelings. First number, let's change this to number. Second name, not name, it's number. I would say string, I could do that in a string concatenated way, but if I do so, then I have to use a lot of things. Type conversion I need to do again. Return result. So if it is compiled and used by Webpack, how it looks after minifying, it will going to call it the, let's say the function name sum of two number. It will random it of course it internally manages this number with a and first name 2 comma 3, something of that set. So it replaces sum of two number, this many characters with a, but internally of course it has some kind of a JSON structure. So internally it should have kind of a mapping to it, so that it is easy to run throughout applications. And uglifying is, it is going to convert function to fn kind of a, first name x, second name y, then third name, let r equal to x plus y, and just return return r, something of that sort. It is going to do this kind of changes, so that it is kind of, this concept is called uglifying. This concept is called minifying, it just minimizing the number of characters. These are kind of just brief of Webpack. There are a lot of functionalities are also there. We are not going to go on to that, or else it will going to expand lot many times. Let's move back to our presentation. Okay, now as we discussed, there are two different types of imports are there: relative import, non-relative import. What do you mean by relative import? Relative import is kind of the path we are using actually in our application, kind of slash, dot slash, double dot slash, and all this stuff. We are using relative and non-relative import. Non-relative import kind of Angular core, you would say React, we are importing something. These two concepts are called relative as well as non-relative imports. Okay, now I have a small question. What is the difference between slash and dot slash? Guys, anyone want to participate in this answer? Okay.
Slash, I guess slash would mean the root and dot slash would mean the current directory.
Yes, actually, dot slash, it is not the dot slash, it's the actually dot. Dot means the root directory, and the slash means the path. If you are going to use this path now, it is going to have an absolute path. What do you mean by absolute path? In our HTML, let's say we have lot many forms, lot many other stuffs are there. We are changing to position absolute. If it don't have any parent to it, parent in the sense dot means current directory. If I'm going to use only slash, then it don't have any parent, so it is going to be top of the file, right? Because by default body is in relative mode, so it is go to at the body position. Let I am going to give a small example. Let's say are you able to see my screen, guys, my VS code?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, 1 second. Let's say this window model is actually my current directory folder. Actually, if you're going to see it now, this is the window model, right? So if I'm going to use dot slash, then it will going to show me this. You can use it. Let's say I removed all this thing and use slash, then it is going to show me the laptop, my machines, the default folders. I could use user slash desktop, what are things, sorry, user, there are webworks one, then I would have desktop, then I would have different folders. So this slash means the absolute position, oh, sorry, not the position in the HTML web, but the HTML absolute path. It is going to directly hit to the computer. As for the computer's base path, it will going to take on that. Let me change that, or else my code is going to be die. Okay, let's move back. Hope you understand the dot slash and slash meaning. Great. Let's move on to the next. Okay, now our module resolution is, it has two different types: relative type and non-relative type. Again, based on some strategy. Strategy. What do you mean by strategy? Strategy is okay. Before going to strategy, what do you mean by module resolution? Module resolution is nothing but how compiler works, how compiler looks when I use import or require something, right? Based on that, we have two different type of strategies. One is classic way, another is node way. What do you mean by node way? We are going to discuss it in upcoming slides. What do you classic way? Classic is kind of a simple, normal, trendy, what you say is an kind of usually how we prefer. This is the way we look. Now we have two different types, relative and non-relative. We have two different strategies, classic and node. Now if I'm going to permutate these two combinations, then we have classic relative and classic non-relative, node relative and node non-relative, node non-relative, right? Let's discuss one by one. Let's say I take the combination of classic relative first. If I'm going to import B from module B, how the what areas compiler is going to look like? Compiler is going to look root, source, and folder, and then b.ts or b.d.ts. In these two files, it is going to look for b. Okay, now I have one question raised. What is the difference between .ts and .d.ts? We will discuss in this question. I actually mentioned in my MCQ part. We're going to discuss on that. For now, let's move on. Now let's have I will have combination of classic non-relative. In this area, in this particular combination, if I am going to use import b from module b, what are areas it will look like? It will going to look for b.ts, d.ts, root. In our root, it will check for module, or it will check for d.ts, or it will check in the current subdirectory folders. It is going to check for it where we can find b. This files it is going to check. Our compiler is going to check on this slides. Okay, what do you mean by node strategy? Actually, node strategy is basically inherited from Node.js module resolution mechanism. Okay. Good. I have one question. Okay, now you had the answers. So I should have asked you in the starting of this session. Okay, fine, no worries. You already know that currently we are the modules which are importing in your node strategy. It is going to have Node.js module resolution mechanism. But what is the classic way? Classic way, actually there is a module loader mechanism is there. Module loader mechanism actually loads our modules in our files, right? So module loader is used for our classic scenarios. In our node scenarios, we have our Node.js module resolution mechanism, which is actually used in our runtime things. Now let's move on to its different things, permutation combination thing. Now we have kind of a node relative path. Let's say I have a var x, then require module b. Where are things it will look like? As you all know, in Node.js, I don't have to write the extension of the things. So it might be a file, it might be a folder, it might be a folder which is having index.js. It might be three different scenarios. For three different scenarios, it is going to, the compiler is going to look for three different areas. First, as a file, it will check for root this location. As a folder, it is going to look for kind of a module b. Oh, sorry. Module b and main module.js. As a folder, if it has an index.js, it is going to look for root, source, and module b. This is kind of a simple ways how compiler looks, right? Okay, good. So let's move on. Now the combination is node and non-relative mode. In this scenario, kind of we have basic URLs, kind of paths, kind of our virtual directories are there. How we are going to use it? Basically, we are going to use it using kind of an compiler options. Where we are going to find our compiler options? We are going to find our compiler options in our, let's say we are using TypeScript, then we can have our compiler options in our tsconfig file. Let's say we have using simple JavaScript, then we have JSconfig, and that JSconfig need to be linked with our package.json so that it is going to easily relate to each other. Like path matching jQuery, if I are using jQuery, then we have to using path. Then if you are using some base URL, then I have to use it virtual directories. We have some templates, source things we need to use that way, so we can use it. Let's say we are using this, then what is the advantages we will get? So instead of dot slash, double dot slash, triple dot slash, some xyz, then we are sorry, I moved to next one. That in this scenario we can use node or the root directory, then slash the file name, the function name, then it will going to easy to use, actually easy to read, easy to check in future, or for the other developers, for other person who are going to come into our project. Okay, let's move to the next, declaration merging. But before that, guys, you have any other questions? Okay, cool. Hope you understand how compiler looks while you are using simple imports, how internally compiler use the things, use the modules to import it, use it, how it looks. Hope you have an idea, basic ideas on how compiler treats our modules, right? Okay, good. Let's move on. Declaration merging. Declaration merging, it's kind of, let's say we have declaration merging as per the definition. Declaration merging when TypeScript compilers merge two or more types into one declaration provided by the same name. Let's say you have two interfaces having the same name, right? And you are using the interfaces. So how it looks, how it treats, how the compiler treats it. So basically it can merge with interfaces, classes with classes, enum with enum. Sorry, not. It is not permitted to merge classes with classes, but it can merge with interfaces, enum with enum, namespaces with namespaces, but it is not permitted to merge two classes having same name, right? Okay, let's say for this, let's say go for my TypeScript playground so that you can easily understand. Let's say I have three interfaces having person same name. One has name, another has age, another has person. Let's say I implemented a class, I created a class and implemented using person. Then if I'm going to hover it, then I must have to use name. Sorry, 1 second. Let's do it, and let's. Okay. Are you able to see the fonts?
Yes.
Good. If you're going to hover on it, it should say the employee class is missing the following properties of type name, age, and height, right? So you have to use all the three, not the right one. In our normal variable concepts, if we are going to use var a equal to, let's say 3, 4, let's say you have var a equal to in JavaScript or any something, you added hello, then you added again var a equal to 23, then again you added var a equal to false. Again, if I'm going to console log a, it will going to override, right? But in the cases of kind of declaration merging, it is merge our things, merge our interfaces, merge our enums, merge our namespaces. So if I'm going to remove this linting error, the TypeScript error, then I have to use my name equal to, let's say asu, let's say is equal to 12345 something xyz. Then let's say height equal to, let's say I have something xyz, then it is going to remove because in, okay, what do you mean by interfaces and abstract classes? So as we discussed in our TypeScript 1, then we have to, like by default interfaces are you would say interfaces are kind of an fully absolute thing, fully abstract thing. You have to use it. In abstract cases you may or may not have to use it, but if the classes or if the function is defined as abstract, then you have to implement it. But interfaces are by default abstract in nature. All the functions, all the data members, all the member functions are abstract in nature. So for that you have to implement all these properties, else it will going to throw an error. So this way how it works in declaration merging, right? Okay, let's move to next example. Okay, now in this particular example, my zip code, I have two things, but zip code is same. So if I'm going to merge it, it is going to be acceptable and it is going to replace the thing, because you have different names. It is going to merge and create a kind of a bunch of properties, attributes in a same person name. But if you have a same name, then it is going to merge. Now, if you have questions that, let's say zip code, now I'm added here string and here I'm going to add number, then in that case it is going to throw you an error. If the interface must to a certain property name, it is not a function, compiler throw an error. Why it is, why here I am added it? If it is not a function, then it will throw an error. The reason behind it, Let's say I'm added a string here, added a number, it will going to throw me error. But in case of function, it will not. Why? We are going to look into that in our upcoming slides, right? Okay, let's move on.
Hello, hello, sir.
Ha,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
So here you added like you given the same type. So will it give a error?
The same type, like
Yeah.
string and string, it will going
Yeah.
to just replace
Okay. Okay.
it. But different type, it will throw an error.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
But there is a twist. If it is a member, data member, it is going to throw an error. If it is a function, then it has different kind of an you would say attributes, a different kind of changes you need to see. What changes? Let's move on.
Okay.
So here, as we discussed, we have speak. This is an interface, and speak is a function. It has a word kind of a string type. It has a kind of speak same function name with different type. As you notice, number and string. When you are going to call it, it behaves kind of function overloading properties, right? Because of that, it is not throwing you an error. But if I'm going to use methods like member function, it is going to throw an error. But if you are going to use function, then you have to, it is kind of one function overloaded. I added the same example here. I hope you see the fonts. Are you able to see the fonts? Here added speak word string, it is return type is string. Person, its word is number, return type is number. I added any for kind of a typecasting check. If I'm going to call this to, it is going to be treat as a function overloading. If I'm going to run it, it will print me high and 2. High is how compiler knows, it checks for string. So it will check for which interface having kind of a string. Here it matches, here it is go ahead with this particular functionality. And it is next, it will going to check a number, then it is going to check for number. If it is found over here, then it is go ahead with this particular interfaces, kind of a function overloading, which you studied in OOPS concept of TypeScript or C++, sorry, not C, but C++ in Java. Let's say if I'm going to change it to some boolean, let's say false, then it will throw me an error because look at the message. No overload matches this call. Overload one of two number gave the following arguments. Boolean is not assignable to parameter of number, and there should be a two of string. It is not a word of string is not matching. So you have to use it kind of and same. If you don't want any kind of error, then some strings. So it will going to work. But if you are going to use a data members, it will throw you an error. But in case of function, it is just kind of overload the function. Hope it clears, right? Good. Let's move on to the next example. Okay. What is the priority? Let's say I have a person name kind of speak, don't look at this, but you already seen it. Okay, that's fine. But okay, let's I have the interface person. It has a function name kind of and speak word strings. Interface person, word of any. Then I have an interface called word number and word boolean. How it works, how if it is merged interfaces, how it looks, it is going to look how does the priority based on priority. As you know, the function having the same name, it don't have any same name. So the lower number, this two are going to be in the top priority. They will go at the top. Function in the last interface appear at the top. Then second one, that first one. The first interface appear at the last. So the priority wise, this will get the higher priority, the last one. The second one going to get the second priority. The top one which we declared is the lowest priority, right? Hope it clears. Then move on. Okay, now I have a twist. Now the twist is, hope you see kind of a string literal over here. There is a number, it's a type. There is a string, it's a type. Here I added hello type and world type. What do you mean by that, guys? Any answer want to contribute?
Yeah, so it will check for exact word. Like,
Yes, definitely. Good. So instead of it checking string, or if you're going to pass an kind of an H small letter also, it will going to throw you an error because it will going to check for exact string literals. Then in this case, what will be the priorities? What is the priority? Any guesses? Any answer, guys? Okay, okay. No worries. I'll tell the answer. So the string literals are the higher priority than the data types. So who is the last, the last one? This is the last one, right? This is the first and this is the last. So the merging kind of the merge interface, merge person interface look like hello. This is going to first, this is going to second, then this is going to third, and this is going to fourth. Speak word number. This is going to the sequence of it. Hope it clears. Oh, great. Okay.
Hi, Ashu.
Huh. Yes. Go ahead.
Uh, what do you mean by like high priority? Is it going to be like when we pass on some value, is it going to be checking like if it's
Top
hello?
prior level. Yes. Yes. It is going to be
So,
in a top prior level. Kind of. Let's say here we don't have any literal, so it is checked for if it is matches with number, it won't go for any. Understood?
okay,
If,
okay. So
if it is
it
matches,
just,
huh,
yeah, got it.
got it right. So in this case also, if it is matches with hello, it won't go for any other kind of what do you say, the functions internally, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now the previous question which we are not discussed, what is the difference between .d.ts and .ts? Anyone able to contribute? Okay, no worries. I would say, okay, as you all know, in our TypeScript browser is not able to understand our TypeScripts, right? So browser is not able to understand TypeScript. So how it goes? We have to use transpilers to compile our TypeScript to JavaScript, right? So it might be possible that some of the TypeScript codes are not able to understand by transpiler actually. It might be possible, right? Some of the, because what is TypeScript? TypeScript equal to, if I'm going to revise my first session of advanced TypeScript, what I said, TypeScript equal to ES6 feature of JavaScript plus some additional features, right? So in this case, the transpiler is going to compile our TypeScript code into respective JavaScript codes, but it is not going to help us the codes which are not able to understand by transpiler. So those codes are going to be stored in our d.ts files. Such as example is our interfaces. Interfaces are not going to understand and decoded by our transpiler. So transpiler is going to store this interfaces in our d.ts file. Let's how I going to prove that? Let's first prove. I created let's say okay. I created one thing that the for testing purpose. Hope it already clear. Hello, hi, transpiler thing. Hope it already clear. Okay, let's move on. Currently, this is a simple TypeScript file, right? I have an interface. I have used in A. I have a name with ASU, right? How after transpile this code, how it looks like in JavaScript. If you look into JavaScript, it is not going to have our interfaces because it is not able to understand what interfaces is. So these interfaces code, particular lines of code, and few of the additional linking to that particular code is going to be part of our d.ts file. Hope it clears, right? Okay, good. Okay, guys. Any other questions?
Can you come back again with those
Yes,
.ts?
yes. You want me to go to that?
Yes.
Yes. Uh, do you want to me to explain again this concept, or you have?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. .ts.
Okay, no worries, no worries. So this few lines of code are kind of a simple TypeScript code, right? I have an interface called test, and I used that test in our kind of an a variable, a JSON object. I'm sorry, my mistake. It's not a variable. It's a JSON object. And there it has a key called name. And with the name, I added a string based on the type interface type. So let's say our transpiler is not able to, our transpiler actually not able to understand what interfaces is, how it works. So for that, this particular interfaces, and there might be some link of this particular object with this interfaces. This link and this interfaces are going to be part of our d.ts files. Let's say we have this file called abc.ts, then it is going to produce a file abc.d.ts, and there it should have some reference to this particular JSON object and this interfaces in this file. For example, let's see if I'm going to check it in, yes, it has a d.ts file, right? So look, in our .js file, we are able to only get our let a name asu, right? Use strict. It don't have any reference called kind of an, it has any interfaces and it links. But if you look at the .ts file, it has my interfaces and it has kind of an declare let a of test. Got it?
Yes, got it.
Good.
Thanks.
Good. No worries. Guys, any other question?
No, not from my side.
Okay, cool. Hope I clear some of your doubts, and hope you understand some of the things, some of the concepts. And okay then, guys. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, Ashu. It was a
Thank
good
you.
session.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ashutosh.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ashutosh.
Bye bye. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining, guys.